My name's Rachel and I go to Malvern Hills Elim Church. The last few months have been strange months. They've been difficult months. Not just for me, but for many, many people. We've experienced heartache and tragedy on a scale that this country's not known for decades. And in amongst it all, the question's often asked, well, where's God in all of this? Doesn't he care? Well, I'd like to answer that question, but not directly, but by telling you about something that happened to me about 20 years ago. I was a teacher at the time, and I'd got 2 young children. And when the school that I was teaching at had training days, I obviously had to work and my children needed to be at home. So on those days, my mother used to come to look after my 2 children. And it was just one such day. I went to work, and the school that I was working at had an Ofsted inspection coming up at the beginning of the following term. So as you can imagine, it was all hands to the deck. But it became apparent that I'd left something at home that the head teacher needed to plan for this Ofsted inspection. So I offered to pop home to get it. I only lived about 20 minutes away from the school. I drove home and I flew through the front door, shouting out to my mother that I wasn't really there, that I'd be in and out, just needed to fetch something and I couldn't stop to talk. I ran upstairs, and as I ran upstairs the phone went. So I shouted down, "I'll get that," and ran and answered the phone. And it was my father. And he said that the police had been round to my parents' house to tell them that my brother had died. Well, I called my mother upstairs and broke the news to her as gently as I could. So, how do I know that God cares? Well, I shouldn't have been at home then. I should have been at work. Training days before and after, I never had to pop home. But on that one day, in that moment that the telephone went, I was there to take that call. If I hadn't have been at home, my mother would have had to answer the phone. She would have had to take the news alone in the house with my 2 children. She would have had to phone me and get me to come home. But that didn't happen. I truly believe that God orchestrated it so that in that moment that the telephone rang, I was at home to answer it. And over the following few weeks, which were really difficult, I had the comfort of knowing that God cared. He cared about me and he cared about my family. I don't have the answer as to why my brother had to die, but I do know that God was there with us as a family and that he truly cared about us. And that's my story of faith.